For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. President Donald Trump delivered a record 99-minute speech to Congress last night, leaning into his far-right radical overhaul of the federal government and culture war on the most vulnerable populations, including immigrants and trans communities. He said he saved free speech, then ticked off a list of what he called accomplishments, including ending DEI initiatives and ending critical race theory in schools.
We have removed the poison of critical race theory from our public schools, and I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Some Democrats boycotted the president's speech. Some attended and walked out in the middle of it wearing shirts that said resist. Others attended and held signs that read false. This is not normal. Save Medicaid and Musk steals. As Trump hailed Doge and its leader, billionaire Elon Musk, the president ticked off a list of what he called fraud, hundreds of millions of dollars in federal contracts, in foreign aid and research. Trump defended his trade war with China, Mexico, and Canada.
Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much.
Democrat Elizabeth Slotkin of Michigan gave the response to Trump's speech.
He's going to make you pay in every part of your life. Grocery and home prices are going up, not down. His tariffs on allies like Canada will raise prices on energy, lumber, and cars, and start a trade war that will hurt manufacturing and farmers.
California Congresswoman Latifah Simon delivered the response for the Working Families Party.
This is the fight against regular folk and the ultra wealthy. When they talk about immigration, gender, diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion, they're trying to make us blame one another. But diversity isn't the reason why families can't afford housing, and immigration is not the reason why you are paying more for your prescription drugs. Billionaires and CEOs who don't care about you are.
Voting rights advocates are raising an alarm over a Trump executive order they say could impact campaign financing disclosures. Catherine Carley reports.
One Trump executive order takes control of all independent agencies, including the Federal Election Commission. Democrats have sued, warning Trump could have partisan influence on elections. Former FEC chairwoman Ellen Weintraub says Trump wants to prevent the public from knowing who's funding political candidates.
There is already too much dark money in our system, and without an FEC, there would be even more. Basically, all of it would be dark, and there would be no one out there to enforce the law.
Voting rights advocates say a Trump plan to take over the Postal Service could put blocks in the way of mail-in voting, which he's accused of being riddled with fraud. Brian Renfro with the National Association of Letter Carriers.
I think it's very clear this administration has no interest in protecting public service, working people, or really the public good.
I'm Catherine Carley for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau fired back at President Trump's 25% tariffs on Canadian imports that went into effect Tuesday and announced his own tariffs on U.S. products.
Today, the United States launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense. Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Economists estimate the tariffs will increase the cost of living for Americans by about $1,500 per household annually. Mexico slated to announce tariffs against the U.S. this weekend. A National Day of Action for Better Education funding Tuesday saw educators, students, and lawmakers rallying at state capitals, sponsored by the American Federation of Teachers. This is the Trump administration's threatening to pull federal funding from schools that use race as a factor in policy or programming. Sociology professor James McKeever with Pierce College in Los Angeles says courses that touch on diversity are important to a well-rounded education.
we're really trying to ensure that we're teaching an accurate, diverse history. Too often our history books have left out the accomplishments of women, of people of color, and the queer people. And we want to make sure that those people get remembered and recognized.
The United Nations Food Agency says it only has enough food supplies in the Gaza Strip to keep the public kitchens and bakeries open for less than 2 weeks after Israel halted the entry of food, fuel, medicine, and other supplies. The blockade is aimed at pressuring Hamas to accept an alternative ceasefire arrangement 6 weeks into a fragile truce. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.